Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are new to me, kindly click on the red subscribe button down below to subscribe to my channel free of charge so that you don't miss anything on this channel.
All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching me from. You are welcome to Get a Better Life TV on YouTube. This is where we promote African traditions and culture and even religion. I'm a Yoruba man. My name is Kolade. So I have a guest today. He is going to introduce himself to you guys by himself. Because he's a person that I know and is the one who can do justice to the topic that we have today. So please, can you introduce yourself to us?
All right, so my name is Ola Oluwasanmi. I'm a brand engineer, a content developer, and a media strategist. And if probably you know me, or maybe after now you get to check me, you know, I'm a proud promoter of the African culture. And then, so I'm always in my cap. I'm always wearing native, which is, signifies our culture. But then I don't do it out of ignorance. And maybe that's why he feels I could do justice to this. I mean, I try to see reasons in what we do and see how best we can evolve, because I realize one thing, that we all were born ignorant and then we have to grow in knowledge. Do you get so? Yeah. My name is Ola Oluwasanmi. Don't let me long talk. God help us.
Thank you for that short introduction of yourself. Yes. Let's get started. I have some questions to ask you so that Africans can learn from you and can share from your wealth of experience. Number one question to you is, what's your view on African traditional religion?
I think those are two different things. The religion is one thing, and then the tradition is another thing. Now, the tradition has to do with moral values, while religion connects us to a higher or a superior God. Do you get? Which, it's the same with every culture. We talk about the Ifa, we talk about the Orunmila. They are not people that we see, but we believe they exist and they are, way ahead, like in the realms that are beyond earth. So I think it's pretty the same. If you check the values are the same. The same way, I think the whole thing boils down to good or evil. Because even when you talk about the African tradition, some people are doing good and some people are doing evil. The same thing with every religion across the world. It boils down to, are you good or are you not good? And the funny thing is, you don't need a religion to tell you. Somehow in your mind, this is not good, this is good, this is not nice, this is evil. So I think it boils down to those two things: African tradition or whichever religion. Everybody is trying to just get knowledge. Everybody is trying to find a means to live in peace and harmony. And over time, people are, gotten ideas of what they think is best. The same way some people believe Buba and Shara is best, the same way some other people believe a suit and a tie is best. Maybe depending on the weather, that where they are and all that. But then I think it just boils down to good and evil. So it's pretty the same to me.
Yeah. Thank you for that one. And without wasting much of our viewers' time, so I will be quick at the questions. So my next question is, do you think Africa will have been more developed if we had stuck to our own culture, traditions, and religion, like China, India, and others?
Maybe, but then I would not, because it's a probability. It could be a plus, or it could be, it could be the other way around. Do you get? But one thing I always believe is to develop, so when we talk about for instance, the Yoruba community, it is the language that binds us. But what defines our development is not the language or the fact that we are together, is how exposed the mind is. So for instance, there are some things that are in other culture that are not expressed in your language. For instance, if you check the English language, there are some languages that they have to probably pick the word to express that particular thing from another language, maybe Latin, French, do you get? That's how it goes. So what it means is, for instance, when you talk about the Yoruba culture, things like the conscious mind, the subconscious mind were not properly expressed. So it's not a bad thing, but I think being exposed to other culture is to expose us to other part of life. Like I said the other time, that we are growing in knowledge. So some people are probably advanced. Some people are probably thinking way beyond time, and then they were able. It's a gift. Do you get? So when you don't embrace other people's knowledge, you would not develop or you will not be exposed. But the thing that you should not do is, even when you are taking this knowledge and developing, you should not leave your moral values, your roots. Because like I said, there's something called the subconscious mind. When the subconscious mind, when people are giving birth to, a part of their parents, their lineage is in the DNA that you have. Do you get? So every time that you try to leave that past behind, it's like you're leaving a part of yourself, and that's why you would not have the confidence. Sometimes you would be amongst people, and then you feel like less of yourself. It's not you; it's like a subconscious feeling. So even when you're trying to go out to gather more knowledge, you should not leave your roots, because it goes beyond the language. It's in the gene. They call it mother tongue. You don't need to learn it before you know it. So as compared to, when you learn Latin, you have to learn, but you have a root, you have a lineage. All those things are rooted together. Do you get? And so I feel you never can tell. We might have developed more if we have people who can project their mind beyond now into the future. Because just for instance, the Wright brothers who invented the plane, they weren't talking about the things that was within their community then. That's why people within their community could not believe them that this is possible. So if we have people who can project their mind beyond time, maybe we could have developed at our pace. But then you never can tell. We could still have been restricted because, for instance, religion and all these other things, there was a way it was restricting people, adding fear to people and all that, so that they could not do things at their own, on their own time. Do you get? So you never can tell. You never can tell.
Yeah. That was a brilliant one, and I am happy with your answer. So my next my next question is African youths of today are doing great, most especially in the entertainment industry. And as I know, you are a player in it, industry, for real. So it appears that they are breaking the laws of the foreign religions. And when I say foreign religions, we know what I mean. The Abrahamic religions, the dominant, the dominant religions that we have in Africa, and Yoruba, most especially, So they are, it appears they are breaking the laws of the foreign religions to succeed. Take for instance, drinking of alcohol. The Abrahamic religions, I think most especially the one from the Middle East, go against drinking of alcohol, and ladies half naked on videos, as you know, and you can see that our youth, most especially in the entertainment industry, are doing great, and it appears it's because they are breaking the laws of these foreign religions. So, do you think that these foreign religions are purposely mentally enslaving us, to remain poor as Africans or as Black?
Okay, so there's this thing, there's the conscious mind, and the conscious mind is a part of us that we use to engage things or engage people. That part of us needs to be free for us to be creative. Do you get? So most times the religion puts like a bound. But the only reason it puts a bound is because most of these things, we soak them in as is given to us. We don't try to understand the value. Now, religion as it is not a bad thing because it only makes you morally upright. Take, for instance, if you're drinking alcohol, you could make a mess of yourself and then do things that you'd eventually regret. Now, what the youth of nowadays are embracing is the fact that now they are not bounded to anybody. For instance, the Christianity, Paul in the Bible says, those who don't follow the law, they are lawless, which means you do things without being bounded. You just do it the way you feel you should do it. Do you get? And sometimes you can only serve your selfish interest at the expense of the other person. You drink alcohol, you drive a car, and then you hit somebody because you are not in your right state of mind. Most of these things gives us, most of the things that we do out of that being bounded, if it's by fear, because you do not understand, then you're not able to express yourself as a person. That's why it looks like a slavery, mental slavery, which I agree with you in a way. It enslaves you mentally. Do you get? But it's only because we do not understand the ideology around this. For instance, the Abrahamic law, the 10 Commandments tells you not to steal, not to kill, not to be covetous, love your neighbor, respect your parent. Those are normal things that we should know. Do you get? Those are the things that makes us morally upright as compared to when your mom talks at you and then just talks about other. If you check some of the values in different cultures like the Yorubas, you see the way we prostrate to our parents. These things just enables us to know the values that are right, things that we should do. But then when you don't understand the ideology behind it, you feel, now you have an emotion to express yourself against your parents. But then somebody's telling you that God will be angry with you. Now that's something binding you against your emotions. Now, if you don't understand that, so if you do this, people around you are looking at you and then they'll probably start disrespecting your parents, which would soil their own emotions. Then you will know, you will think you are bounded. But if you understand the values around it, then you will be able to embrace it. So you can't embrace something that you do not understand. The only thing, like I said, that the youths are embracing now is the freelance that it gives their mind. It makes them, lose. You do whatever you want to do. You drink, and then tomorrow you talk about the cruise of how, I was so drunk, and then we start to gist. But then you are forgetting the fact that the part of you that is that free, is the part of you that you need to control, which is the conscious mind. But you can't even control it while you're drunk. And then, maybe it helps you become a little bit creative. But then at the long run, if you check the profile of those who have done that over time, how did they end? Because at some point, you realize that at the point that you need not to control yourself, you can't even control yourself. You will have people who had probably committed suicide out of all these things, people who had done little things and then they messed their life up. Do you get? So sometimes we should not talk about the moment. We should talk about the eventual result, the overtime result. What happened to these very people? If you check their profile and how they ended up, you realize that the large number of them, 80%, 90%, their life eventually was a mess. Because life is about control and discipline. And that's what religion does. But sometimes when you don't understand, like I said, we don't understand what all of this is about, then you feel, like our parents, the way our parents brought us up now, man should matter, don't do this, and all that. At some point when you are with them, you feel, and stress me, but when you now start to raise a child, then you know the values that they were trying to pass across to you, because now you realize that, because of your word of spirit or experience, if your child does this, might end up bad. Do you get? Now at that point, you're trying to now caution the child. The child's free to, daddy, I think pray on me, likely I'll go and live on my own. Do you get? So I think life is like a balance. You just need to understand how to engage it. It's not about the moment. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Thank you very much for that. So your answer will take me to the next question, and it's a question of heaven and air. So now to you now, based on your observation or based on your analysis, so where do you think Africa traditional believers will go after death? Because there is a misconception that if you are not either a Muslim or Christian, you are going to hell. Let me pardon that language. It's a language.
I get it.
That I shouldn't use.
It's fine.
Yeah. So where do you think African traditional religion believers will go after death? As some feel that hell.
I don't know much about how how Islamic religion preaches it, but I know they talk about the Jonah too, right? And then the Christians to talk about it. And I know somehow, like the lineage of how the Muslim picked their religion was related to Abraham, that lineage, Abraham, Noah, and the likes. Exactly. So, in my own opinion, which is what I said first, and if you check the Bible, which is a Bible that I think I've read for myself, you realize that when God created earth, the only two things that were is good and evil, which is why I said you don't need to be told before they will say, oh, you did good or you did evil. Do you get? Sometimes some people preach an idea to you. The idea is good, but they added their own selfish interest. There's always a perspective to things. It doesn't mean that good will be bad or bad will be good. We all know this is good and this is bad. If there's heaven and earth, which I strongly believe there should be, I mean, we didn't create ourselves. Nobody came out of the ground. I feel, and that's what happens in every organization. There have to be rules and there have to be punishment. If there is, which I strongly believe there is, where the people who do not fit into the character of good, do you get? There's where they end. Then the good ones, which was why I mentioned at first that even when the Ifas, without the religion, we will know there are good Babalawos and bad Babalawos. We know there are people who are good, and somehow, the people who are bad, their mind always pricks them that what they are doing is bad. Until then, their mind just could not, hold them back, because now they've actually done so much evil that, they couldn't go back. But somehow, and that's why some of them, they have to do it in the dark. They do it in the dark, where it's not something that you can openly do. So if there is a hellfire, and which I feel strongly believe there should be something like a form of punishment. Oh yeah, you're evil. You killed a fellow human being. Oh yeah, you committed murder. You did this. I believe. Then the good ones would go to Jonah, because life is not bounded by either you're a Christian or a Muslim. It's bounded by good and evil. There is light. There is darkness. There is, that's just it. There's light, there's darkness, there's good and evil. So if the good ones amongst them, that's why the good ones among them, if you check I think I've seen a lot of Yoruba movies, so much that the good ones, there's a way that they are confident against the evil one. If you meet a good Babalawo and a bad Babalawo who have the same power, there's always a way that the good ones would supersede it. It's just the same principle across the world. It might be interpreted in different ways, but it's always the same principle.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. And I strongly support or agree with what you just said, right? Even in Yoruba religion, religious concepts, there is what we do here there is a song that we do sing that Ipade Dorun, and I think you are Yoruba man, you know the
exactly. Ipade Dorun, exactly.
Ipade Dorun, yeah, that Yoruba DB Ipade Dorun,
Ipade Dorun, exactly.
Yeah. So I strongly agree with you, and thank you for that answer. So now, my next question is how do you think African traditional religions can win the hearts of this generation and the coming ones? What I'm trying to say is that, like, I'm a Yoruba, and there is a religion called Yoruba Religion or Ifa Religion. Now, I've seen that many Yoruba youths are, eager to learn more or to understand how the system of Ifa works, right? So now the issue now is that, how do you think African traditional religions, I'm speaking on behalf of the rest of Africans, right? So how do you think, how do you think the religion, because to me, it's just like a new dawn, in Africa. So how do you now think that the youth of nowadays, how do you think can be? How do you think they can be convinced, to accept the new religion? It's not new, but it's flourishing now.
Okay, so here's the thing. Knowledge does not cancel knowledge. Knowledge only places knowledge where it belongs. And for every time that the world is progressing, the only thing that progresses the world is knowledge. So if you want to be relevant in the new age, you need to first embrace the knowledge and see, which of our value are we supposed to keep? Because there are some of the things that we do out of ignorance. Okay? Even in the Christianity, even in Islam, even in what's it called? The early days of the Bible, the Jews. There were things that they were doing that over time they realized, this was done out of ignorance. Do you get? So the only way to probably project the value that the Ifa and the other values that the values that has kept the Yoruba tradition. The only way to project it is first you embrace what is the new knowledge, which is the trending knowledge in the world. Then now check yourself and check which of the values is sustainable. Which one can you sustain? You can't tell somebody who lives in abroad to come back and it's not that way. But there are ways that you tell it to them and then they believe. So what are you saying?
Right.
Is Ifa on IG? Have you? People relate with what they can see and what they've heard about. So you only find it is left to the people who are rooted in this tradition to find a way to accept the new knowledge. Now, there's I don't know, maybe you know about I think it's the Chinese or Japanese monks. The monks, those people that.
Of course. Yeah.
Now, so I was on YouTube one day and I was searching and then I saw a particular video of somebody who was talking about the monk. He said when he wanted to join the monk, that after his script is there and then they did their normal ritual, they gave him his room.
Yeah.
And when they gave him his room, he realized that there was internet and they gave him a MacBook. And he was like, I don't expect you guys to have MacBooks. And the guy was like, he said they told him that we are not monsters. We are civilized. It's just that we know how to sustain our values. So now you gave somebody an internet and then gave them the MacBook. Now, in the real sense of it, it's like you're telling them, see the word for yourself and then compare the values to this one. The guy said over time, he was the one who then decided not to start going on internet because he realized there was so much prayer coming from the internet. But they'll give you the chance to go through it. So I think the best thing is you can't, let me use this adage, you can't ask the Ifa what you're supposed to ask Google.
Yeah, of course. Very correct, very brilliant, yeah.
So,
for real.
So if you know there's something called Google, then there's a way you're supposed to embrace it, use it to develop your own self and develop the tradition itself. When you don't do that, then the tradition becomes archaic. It becomes too rigid for people to engage with.
Correct. Is that all? Thank you. So my next question, thank you very much. You are doing it. You are doing good with the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, my next question now is why do you think some foreign religion followers secretly visit Babalawos for solutions to their problems? So we have them.
Yes, but that's true. People come. Somebody was telling me yesterday that Monshiman Bebo in London, but the ideology behind this is everybody's finding their truth or trying to find their fit. If you are
Yes.
So it means when you are exactly. So when you are trying to find your truth or a solution to your problem, you're trying to find yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever seems like it is where you're going to, and the very first place that it seems this solves my problem. That's where you stuck with. Like I said, I keep saying this. There's nothing called country. The word country, the word Nigeria is just a mirage. And that's why you check that. You realize that two countries will be banded only by a line. You check USA and Mexico. The land of Mexico and the land of US in a particular state, I think, is bounded by only a line. Do you get? So all we have is lands and people. So if it's lands and people, then when we remove the mirage or the euphoria of, oh, I'm from Nigeria, you're from England, you're from Oklahoma, you realize that we are all just people. We might differ in the way we communicate, but even the communication, because a new child that is giving birth to does not have a language. We taught the child the language here on earth, which means as much as I learn Yoruba, I can learn Igbo, I can as well learn every other language. We have people who speak 10, 12, 20 languages. Do you get? So they are trying to break that bound. Now, in the real sense of it, I think the question, sorry, can you rephrase the question? I think
you're on point. You're on point. The question is, why do you think some foreign religion followers secretly visit Babalawo?
Exactly. So, just excuse my.
Yeah, you are.
All right.
Good.
So the ideology is everybody is finding the truth. So when you're giving birth to in the Yoruba land, and you realize that, oh, I think some of the things they're talking about here, I don't understand it. I don't think it can solve my problem. Some people go as far as going to India. Some people go to China. The same way some people are coming. The same way, like Brazil now, I heard Brazil speaking Yoruba. I think it's mandatory in some.
Their curriculum.
Brazil.
Yeah,
exactly. And then they are beginning to embrace the Ifa because it's probably solving their problem. And they realize there's values in it. The major thing is the value that it offers to the life. So if somebody feels, church is the place that would add value to my life, then they go to church. We've seen people cross from Christianity to Muslim to Islam. Some people cross from Islam to Christianity. It's the value that it gives to different lives. Where they go search for those values is left to them. Do you get? So that's why some people will still come over to our Babalawo and say, Baba, or let me consult the Ifa. Do you get? I need this problem solved. And then the problem will be solved. And then the same way, and that was why even in the Bible, there are some people that the Bible said that Jesus could not preach to them because of their unbelief. They did not believe in the value he has to offer. So I think it differs for everybody.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. My next question, my next question is, I'm sure you've heard of Ifa Religion or Yoruba Religion, so that is not new to you. Yeah, but yes. I want to know your view concerning Orunmila. Because this the word Orunmila is something that maybe some youth are hearing for the first time and maybe are not familiar with. So, is Orunmila a prophet or just an Orisha or whatever? Your own view.
I actually don't have a depth of knowledge about the Orunmila, but I know from the way I've seen them in movies and all that, they wear white. And like I keep saying, whatever, like I said earlier, whatever solves your problem is what you stick with. So
let me reframe that question properly. Orunmila happens to be the message carrier, Ifa message carrier, right?
Okay.
He is the one that brought the Ifa messages to us, to Yoruba Race, and the rest of the Babalawos now got the knowledge from Orunmila, and it has been passed down to this present generation.
Different generations.
So do you agree that he's a prophet as well?
The value that he gave the Yoruba people is what we're still talking about, is what they is very popular in Brazil now.
Yeah.
It's about the value. As a matter of fact, there are some prophets in the Bible who the only thing they did was just deliver a message. Right? So, like I said, I don't know much about him.
No problem.
Well, I know for a fact that he wears white, and he's always conscious of he doesn't do evil. From the little I've heard, and if these values are not right in a way, and that was what I was telling you, that knowledge doesn't cancel knowledge. The fact that maybe some people embrace Christianity doesn't cancel Ifa. Knowledge only places knowledge where knowledge is supposed to be. So maybe there's a higher knowledge, there's a lower knowledge. Do you get? So it doesn't mean that if the values are wrong, then people will not pass it down from generation. Because we're talking about centuries. Do you get? that this very knowledge was passed down well over 100 years. But then people still use the same value and still engage in this very value. They are still passing the knowledge of this value. I mean, so it means the values are real and is transgenerational. Do you get? So you can as well call him a prophet. Do you get? Because the word prophet, like I said in the Bible, there are some people in the Bible, which is the book that I'm more familiar with, who the only thing what they did was God only sent them to go to a place and deliver a message. Now, what it means that you are delivering a message is the message cannot be passed down generation. Because if I'm telling you to do something now, it doesn't mean that the people coming will do the same thing. It means, which means, like for instance, Jonah, it was only relevant to the people of Nineveh at that time when God told them to change their ways. Do you get? So it means if you're just delivering a message, you're only delivering it for now. The message can change tomorrow. But those people are called prophets. So if somebody still also has a value that can be passed down generation that people are talking about, then it could pass as a prophet.
Okay, thank you for that one. So without wasting much of our time, we'll soon be rounding up. So my next question is, Ifa religion is becoming a widely acceptable religion, even outside Yoruba land, right? If you check online now, there are the Caribbean, the Brazilians, and the rest of the world like that are embracing Ifa presently. They are even practicing Ifa more than the way we do in Nigeria.
Wow.
Yeah, of course. So what do you think will be the future of Ifa? Okay,
sorry.
No problem.
I will have to turn on the generator.
Oh, would that not waste much time? Okay, no problem now. I'm just considering your own stress. I'll wait.
No, don't worry. Okay,
don't worry.
Let me just give me a minute.
Okay.
All right.
So my next question to you is, Ifa religion is becoming a widely acceptable religion outside Yoruba land, because in other parts of the world now, in Brazil, Caribbean, and the rest of the world like that are practicing Ifa so much more than even in Nigeria, Yoruba in particular, in the southwestern part of Nigeria. So, what do you think will be the future of this knowledge of Ifa religion and the message of Orunmila in Yoruba land?
Like I said earlier, it's left to the people, the pioneers of the tradition itself, to be able to project it to the coming generations in the ways that they would accept. Else, the knowledge will become too rigid for people to engage. And what would happen is the value will leave Yoruba and go to maybe other part of the world where they treasure and appreciate it. Because that's what happens. If you cannot protect the knowledge and project it to the coming generation, those who appreciate the value, which is, like you said, in Brazil, in the Caribbean, another part of the world, people are embracing the knowledge, which means gradually the knowledge is leaving the Yoruba land. So if the pioneers don't know how to project the knowledge to people who would have, in the way that people would accept it, the coming generation will accept it. Because here's the thing. So when you give birth to a child, you probably buy the child, you have a TV in your house, and then you buy the child a toy. Now, these are the civilized knowledge. It's the scientific knowledge, it's the civilized knowledge. So there's nothing like the Ifa in what they do in school. There's nothing like the Ifa in what they engage with growing up, which means by the time they are old enough and then they engage this knowledge, it's strange to them. Now imagine somebody that the knowledge is strange to, and then you are presenting the knowledge in the way that it's rigid to them. They would tell you they don't need it. They've never needed it growing up. Their father didn't feel like they needed it. Their parents didn't feel like they needed it. So why would I engage such a rigid knowledge? Do you get? So I spoke about how, I think I mentioned earlier, how the monks, they have laptops and all that. That's like a way of, being advanced. So you go to a Babalawo who doesn't know how to use a laptop, who doesn't know how to use a phone. You think the man is archaic. So everything the man will say, there's a way that the knowledge is not fresh. So every time that you want to refresh the knowledge, you embrace the knowledge. You embrace the knowledge that is trending, and then find a way. It's like a wake-up call for everybody. New knowledge is like a wake-up call, pardon me, for everybody. So it's a way to check yourself and see what you feel is too archaic that you can drop. Like, for instance, there was a time that in the Bible, they kill rams for sacrifices. But now you go to churches, they don't even have anything that has to do with blood and rams and all that. It's an advancement. When you don't embrace the new knowledge, your knowledge becomes archaic. It becomes too rigid to deal with. Do you get? So the world is civilized. The people whose knowledge are becoming advanced. You have a value that should go with the new knowledge. Then find a way to embrace the new knowledge and rebrand yourself in a way that will be acceptable to the people. Because yes, for instance, for a fact, this knowledge, the Ifa and the like, they have a value that people can engage with, but it's left to the pioneers to advance and broaden up their knowledge.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So before I allow you to go, because we've used a large number of your time. So please, can you advise our youths, African youths, concerning religion in general, and give us your last statements, and as well let us know how people who are happy with your answers can reach you,
reach out
via your social media or whatever. So
okay, sir. So my advice to the youth is this: there's what is called background. There's what is called a root, and everybody in the world has a root. Now, the benefit of the root is there are some people who had come to earth and they've spent time, they've gathered some form of knowledge that you can benefit from. Now, the benefit of that knowledge is they did it at their pace. They were not under pressure of doing it. So it was a genuine knowledge as compared to when somebody is under pressure to be applauded and all that. That's why the best form of invention is done when nobody is watching. When people are watching you, there's a way you are not fully concentrated. So it's not like a full knowledge. I would advise that they read about the roots that they are from. But don't do it out of ignorance. Find a way to understand this knowledge. All of these values, say, we're giving birth to, all of us were ignorant, and then we grew up gathering knowledge. Now, so some of the things that, some of these values, some of them were done out of ignorance. So it's not like everything in comprise is the value that you should take. Take the one that you know will benefit your life and will keep you rooted. Because there's no way you go to China. They will ask, where are you from? I even heard about the Rastas, that if you go to their country and you're trying to speak the Rastafarian language, they look at you as fake. I mean, rep where you're from. Let me learn from you. Don't come here faking like you can do it better than I can do it. I can't speak English better than somebody who grew up in the English community. So find a way to know your roots and, keep yourself rooted, but don't do it out of ignorance. Find the knowledge that you understand that would benefit your life. There are so many things that were done out of ignorance, which I know over time the world will have to grow it. But so far, so that you don't be the example that people will point to and say, look how this guy's life is messed up because he was not, knowledgeable enough. So find a way to understand the knowledge that you are trying to search about. It will be best for you to understand your roots because it gives you like the bragging right. I keep telling people, the Yoruba culture, when you wear suit and tie, there's a way you look. When you wear agbada, there's a way you look. Put somebody that wears suit and tie beside somebody that wears agbada. Agbada makes you looks like a royalty. And that's why I embrace the native. I mean, I don't want to look like I'm your bodyguard. That's what it looks like in Africa. When you wear suit and you're standing beside somebody who's wearing agbada, you look like a freaking bodyguard. So me, I embraced it because I saw the values in it. But it doesn't mean I'm doing it out of ignorance. Do you get? And as regards my word, in this interview, my last word in this interview, I will tell you that when you learn enough, you will do more than enough. The word itself, the only thing we are trading is information, is knowledge. So if you must engage life with knowledge. That's what gives you the confidence to engage, to talk. That's what makes people listen to you. That's what makes you relevant everywhere you go. So when you learn enough, you will do more than enough. So try as much as possible to learn in everything you will do. And as regards my social media handle on Twitter, I'm more conversant with Twitter because I like to engage knowledge. I like to, know what people think about opinions, people's opinion, know what people think about a topic and all that. So my handle on Twitter is at Ola Oluwasanmi, which is at OLAOLUWASANMI. And then on Instagram is at Ola Oluwasanmi blogs. Although I'm not so conversant with Instagram. Hopefully maybe by coming year it would become a better, because I'm a brand engineer. So I want you to come to my IG page and then you find that it's properly branded. I don't just want to be posting pictures and videos there. You get? So that's why I've not really been using IG. But then I think by next year it will change. But find me on Twitter, Ola Oluwasanmi, at Ola Oluwasanmi. But on IG, it's at Ola Oluwasanmi blogs. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for these brilliant answers to my question. On behalf of my followers and myself, we appreciate you and we are happy with your answers. Thank you very much. And some other time, we'll bring you back to this channel to share knowledge with us. Thank you very much and get a better life. Bye for now.
Thank you.